Welcome to the Nonno Giorgio and Rory Cooking Italian for Weight Loss channel. Hi, welcome back to the Nonno Giorgio and Rory Cooking Italian for Weight Loss. And today we're going to make a great Italian soup, lentil soup. And we're going to modify our lentil soup a little bit by adding some very small potatoes cut in half, a little tiny pearl type potatoes cut in half, and some of our vegetarian Beyond Meat sausage, the hot Italian. And what we've got here today is we've got the mirepoix, remember from the other soup recipe, that's carrots, celery, and onions diced up about the same size. And I've also diced up some garlic. We have 2 stalks of celery.
Yeah, 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots. They were pretty good sized carrots. A medium onion, and of course salt and freshly ground black pepper. So that's what comprised the mirepoix, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And how many garlics did we say
that? Let's see, 2 garlic cloves. Yeah.
And then we have 1 package of lentils, which is a pound package.
And we get the ones that, I don't think it matters, but we get the ones that don't have to be soaked. You know, sometimes they have a little stone in there or something, but they're pretty well cleaned already when we get them, so we don't have to mess with that.
You do have to, we did wash it, and I dumped it out on a paper towel, and we looked, and Rory found one little, looked like a stem or something in it. But they're pretty clean. It's a good product.
Yeah.
We've got some fresh grated Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and that's for putting in the soup when it's done. We have thyme.
We need about a teaspoon of thyme.
And we've got a can of, the recipe calls for diced tomatoes. I had a can of the whole peeled tomatoes, and I diced them in the bowl myself. I added a little salt and pepper and some garlic just to flavor the tomatoes. In fact, Rory was walking around the house saying, "What smells so good?"
I know.
And I hadn't even started cooking yet.
I was in my office working, and all of a sudden I thought, what is that smell? And it was just the tomatoes, and they're so wonderful.
Okay, so we're going to turn our stove on initially high just to get it started. We're going to put some olive oil. You want to coat the bottom for the vegetables. And I'm going to put some in here, and this is for the sausage and onions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our mirepoix, and it's got the garlic in it, and we're going to put that in, and we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper, and we're going to wait, move it around so they get coated with the olive oil, and wait for that to start sizzling. Then I'm going to take and put our onions and sausage, and that's vegetarian sausage. And we just want to brown it and cook down the onions, and then we'll throw that in the soup later. Okay, so we're sauteing the mirepoix and the garlic. And it's getting there. It's sizzling. It's not quite soft yet. And we're sauteing the onions and the sausage. And I wish you could smell this. I turn that down to low. In fact, I'm going to take it off the heat because it's going to cook in the soup. If the onions dry a little bit, you can put a little bit more olive oil, because you want them to saute, you want the onions to be translucent, and you want the celery and carrots to start to soften. They're going to further cook in the soup, so that's not a problem. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to take half the vegetables out, and I'm going to do that now.
This is the magic on this dish, so pay attention.
And the reason I do that is those vegetables are going to go back into the soup, and they're going to give you something to have a little bit of flavor and bite. These vegetables are going to get boat motored with our immersible blender, and it's going to form our own homemade vegetable broth. So now you see it looks like vegetable broth. It's just water. I put 11 cups of water in, and I'm about to boat motor it. Now these, be careful, this blade is very, very sharp. You want to, before you don't turn it on and then go in, because you're going to have soup all over you, the floor, and the stove. Go in, and if you can see, it's below water. And then I turn it on. I turn it off, lift up. Turn it off, lift up. And what I'm doing is trapping the onions, garlic, carrots, and celery below the blade and chopping them up. And this is making soup stock. Okay, so we've boat motored. We have our broth basically here. We're going to put our vegetables that we took out back into the broth. And we need about 14-15 ounces of the diced tomatoes. We got about double that. So I'm going to put about half in, and we'll use the other half for another dish. And now I'm going to put our lentils in. Put your stove on high to bring it to a boil. We're going to put about a teaspoon of thyme in. I just measure by eye. And we're going to keep giving this a stir so it doesn't burn on the bottom. What you want to do is bring this to a boil, then put the lid on, but not tight, up on the one end, and turn the heat down to like low and let it go for 10-12 minutes, and then taste your soup. Make sure your lentils are cooked. If they're hard, do another couple of minutes. Taste for, do you need more salt, do you need more pepper, any of the spices, and add it in. We're going to, now, since we've done a modified basic lentil soup, I've got these little tomatoes, and they're in water.
Potatoes.
So, I'm sorry, potatoes. And I haven't had any wine today.
That's the problem.
And they're in water so they don't turn brown. And since we had water in there, I can dump the water and the potatoes and everything right in. And we're going to take our sausage and onion and stick that in. And oh, I wish you could smell this. And we're just going to give it a stir. And while you're waiting for it to come to a boil, give it a couple of stirs so nothing sticks to the bottom and burns. And then when it's boiling, turn it down to low, put your lid on like this so you have a crack. Otherwise you could have it boil over and have a mess. And give it a couple of stirs also until it's calmed down. Then just let it sit. It's boiling nicely, and I'm going to turn this down to low. Give it a stir just to make sure, scrape the whole bottom and around the edge just to make sure there's nothing stuck. And then I'm going to put the lid on, crack it a little bit, and we're ready. The next thing we'll do is in about 12 minutes we'll taste it, make sure everything's good, and then we'll taste it. Soup has gone for about 11-12 minutes. I'm going to taste it. It's very, very hot, so be careful. Rory says I have a leather mouth, so.
Very, very hot stuff he can take. I have to wait till it's
The
cold.
lentils are done, the potatoes are done. Tastes good. I think maybe just a little bit of salt we'll put in and give it a stir. You know, soups are really good for you. They're you know, you have a lot of water. They're good when you're trying to lose weight. They're tasty. They have all those ingredients that you don't lose. They're in the broth. Just enjoy it. And I also wanted to say, you know, if you don't like tomato in your soup, don't add it in.
Right.
Just make it with the broth. If you don't like garlic, don't add the garlic. You know, you're in control. You can modify this any way you want. Lentil soup alone is delicious with sausage or some chicken or any kind of other vegetables you want to put in it. It's delicious.
Yeah. And as we said before, we make a big pot because it's something you can snack on, you know, have half a cup if you get really hungry, or you can have it for a full meal. So we keep it for 2 or 3 days and make 2 or 3 meals out of it, and that's practical too, besides tasting really good.
You remember from the other soup recipe, we talked about these cereal boxes you can get at the dollar store for $1, and they're in a lot of other stores. Today's soup is more than half, so we might need more than one, so I took the 2 out. Don't put it in there until, you know, the soup's cooled down, because they are plastic. Then we put them in the refrigerator, and we just have to take them out, ladle some into a pot and cook it on top of the stove, or microwave it if that's okay with you.
So this looks beautiful, and you know, you can make it as watery or as thick as you want. Some people like their soup more like a stew. This happens to be right in the middle. It's pretty brothy, and so I like to eat it in a cup because, you know, I can hold the cup up, and it's a nice change for eating your soup. And then I love the cheese.
We're going to put a little Parmesan
Perfect.
on it.
Lovely.
And we're going to give it just a little stir and give a taste.
I have to wait. It's too hot. Good.
Everything's blended together. The taste is delicious. You season it the way you like to season it. But soup is healthy, nutritious. It'll help you lose weight, and it's fun to make. Your whole house will smell good.
Wonderful. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.
For now,
Ciao.
ciao and arrivederci.
Bye.
We hope you have enjoyed our channel. If you have, please hit the subscribe button below and the bell next to it so you get notified of new videos when they come out.